It's as simple as a flick of a tap. Water is a fundamental human necessity which we rely on for hydration, hygiene, industry, and agriculture. Our country, New Zealand, has more than 70 river systems and 775 lakes located both in the North and South Islands, which are home to fisheries, a source of food for predators, and agriculture for humans.
However, due to the inefficiency of pollution and contamination of water, it has been valued more and become a scarce resource globally. And, locally, as of 2019, Auckland is the region with the most polluted waterways, with 62% of rivers, lakes, and estuaries graded as poor by the Ministry of Environment for swimming, and none of the rivers, lakes, or estuaries were graded as good. This means that it is no longer safe to swim in, with parts of the water sources being marked off permanently, such as the Wairau outlet, with no swimming, fishing, or gathering shellfish allowed. Furthermore, if we continue to mismanage our kitanga or guardianship of our water, the contamination of water could reach a point where there isn't enough oxygen for the fish to breathe, as smaller fish can inhale and absorb pollutants, such as chemicals and toxic ions, into their systems, resulting in a destructive impact on biodiversity, wildlife, and the food chain. Speaking of ions, what are they?
An ion is an atom or molecule that has either gained or lost electrons. Positive ions are cations, and negative ions are anions. According to Stats NZ, New Zealand's official data agency states that the most abundant cations and anions that are present in New Zealand's waters are copper, zinc, and nitrate. Unfortunately, due to contamination, lakes and streams have been negatively affected by large quantities of cations and anions, and these could interest toxicity among these water sources. The highest concentration of these ions can be toxic towards aquatic life, resulting in a declining population of organisms.
We decided to run our own experiment on the North Shore water sources, specifically Westlake Stormwater, Wairau Estuary, Lucas Creek, and Papakura Stream, to find out how polluted our local waters really are. We chose to conduct this experiment to educate ourselves more about the current issue that is occurring in our freshwaters and how we can possibly raise awareness on the situation. And, collectively, on the 17th of September, we gathered water samples from Wairau Estuary, Lucas Creek, Westlake Stormwater, and Papakura Stream to examine the water quality and the contaminants that the water held beyond the sight of the naked eye.
Red litmus paper was submitted into each sample of water, then 1.5 milliliters of each substance was poured into each test tube containing the 4 samples of water.
Our results were as follows.
From the experiment we conducted, it is evident that both cations and anions are present in the samples of water, such as nitrate, iodine, sulfate, sodium, magnesium, and iron. However, this now raises a query: how did these ions result in the lakes, streams, and estuaries that we tested on?
Papakura Stream has previously been dumped with diesel and oil as recently as mid-2019, according to sources such as NewsHub, Auckland Council, and the New Zealand Herald. Footage of the disposal of the lubricant has sparked on social media, causing controversy through media and the community. Watson, the man who filmed the discarding of the lubricants through Croxbury Road culvert into Slippery Street, is quoted saying that he is fed up with the diesel and oil being dumped into Papakura Stream for the last 3 to 4 months and nothing here being done about it, on a local community news group.
With the disposal of diesel and oil, it is expected that ions such as magnesium and sulfate should be present, as an article written by Lubrizol 360 in April of 2019 states that diesel fuel contains sulfur derived from crude oil and still can be present after refining. The influence of magnesium found in both diesel and oil is not uncommon. In fact, magnesium is generally related to detergent additives commonly used in engine oils. Ideally, you wouldn't think about possibly drinking iodine, right? Magnesium, iodine, and nitrate were identified in these water sources. So, how do they affect humans? Magnesium and iodine seem to frequent in rivers and waterways, as iodine was even used to usually treat water. However, magnesium can affect the water's quality. This is more commonly known as hard water. Hard water is when water contains a high count in minerals which are usually put into water through natural filtration through limestone, chalk, or gypsum, which are known to be made out of calcium, magnesium, sulfates, and bicarbonates. However, it can affect your day-to-day life, as this type of water interferes with every cleaning activity since it interferes with soap, causing curds and slimy substances.
What about nitrate?
Nitrate, like other chemicals, is in nearly every water source, though it is not good. Nitrate is associated with bowel diseases, cardiovascular diseases, and increased blood pressure. These can take long-term impacts on an individual's health.
Furthermore, another water source we decided to conduct our experiment on was Lucas Creek, situated in central Albany. From the experiment we investigated on, the sample of water of Lucas Creek contained high levels of iodide and nitrate. Nitrates are soluble, which means that they can easily dissolve in water. As stated earlier, this can interfere with the ability of our red blood cells to carry oxygen, as it contains a high level of nitrate. From previous research, Lucas Creek has been choked with the contamination of nitrate and metals that have slipped upon its waters.
Moreover, Wairau Estuary, another water source we conducted our experiment on, contained a large quantity and presence of iodine, sulfate, and magnesium in the water. As of February 2020, the Rangitoto Observer, a local community newspaper, concluded a definite cause of the contamination in the estuary, as it has been permanently marked hazardous and unhygienic because of fecal contamination, a direct discharge of waste from mammals or human sewage. Understanding that the influence of fecal contamination in aquatic environments is detrimental to an individual's health. It also has negative factors in which contributes to the ecosystem and environment containing biological organisms. Once exposed to an animal, pathogens, or known as bacterium, will destroy their gastrointestinal tract due to poor sanitation. This affects the biological organisms as they will fall ill, especially to those who rely on water as a food or water source.
In closing, our last water source, Westlake Waters, exhibited a high level of nitrate. An article written by the Wheatley River Improvement Group in 2010 states that the existence of high levels of nitrate could be traced back to either human wastes, industrial pollution, the overuse of chemical fertilizers, and improper well construction. NIWA, or formerly known as the National Institute of Water and Atmospheric Research, concludes that nitrates is the most abundant contaminant among New Zealand waters. It is not only damaging to organisms living in the water sources, as high levels of nitrate can stress them, but also for the environment surrounding the water source. This is because the excessive amount of nitrate can cause populated growth of algae, which will eventually die and then decompose. When they die, a high amount of organic waste is produced, and it cancels out the amount of oxygen held in the water, causing more death and harm to the organisms living there. In retrospect, all of the water samples that were collected possess some sort of contaminants. So, what is being currently done, either through small campaigns, organizations, funding, or companies that are helping to upgrade and improve our current systems?
An organization we have found that helps is Sustainable Development Goal, a small international organization that has been helping New Zealand since 2016 to help improve and upgrade our water systems. We can also take action by volunteering on New Zealand's National Water Day, which is a day where Kiwis get together and help clear rubbish from our waterways and beaches.
Now, you may be wondering, considering the problem about this, what more could be done in regards to this issue, water contamination? Well, we can all individually assess this issue and take action to improve the water quality of our lakes and streams by using alternative solutions, such as planting trees and plants around the water source, therefore providing an area for runoff so it doesn't run into our rivers and contaminate it further with nitrate. Another solution is to volunteer for rubbish pickups and community service projects. Reducing your plastic waste, which helps the organisms that live in the water, because the plastic will eventually flow into the ocean, where it further continues to harm aquatic life. Our continuous battle for the sustainability of our lakes and rivers should not conclude due to the wounding presence of contamination that were detected upon the samples of water. Ecosystems, health, animals, even you yourself are being put at risk due to the exceedingly harmful contaminants within the water that have led to petitions and controversy. However, this is not just a local issue. This is a global issue. Because water is a limited, precious resource that we all rely on a day-to-day basis. We must take action now. Because if we don't, when will we?